Hello, welcome to the review of Star Trek Beyond. Apologies for the setting, but I'm a little behind, so I'm doing this at work on my lunch break. Here's the short story. Star Trek Beyond is exactly what you think it's going to be. It's a run-of-the-mill summer blockbuster where every 10 minutes something explodes or someone gets chased down a corridor. What is interesting, or disappointing, is that it starts off as though it's going to be something more. There's a brief, painful bit of knockabout farce, and then we have Chris Pine's Captain Kirk ruminating on the effects of a 5-year mission on people who have almost no personal space. And this leads into worries about what he's doing with his life, whether he's made the right choices, and a short while later, an admiral inviting Kirk to look for the answers inside himself rather than acting in haste to repent in leisure. Unfortunately, the film doesn't build on this potential and instead degenerates at warp speed into the sort of film that isn't really about anything but is guaranteed to make a lot of money. The plot is nonsense and the holes in it are wide enough to fly the Enterprise, the Voyager and Discovery through, with enough room left over to squeeze in the Defiant, my personal favourite Federation vessel. There are some interesting touches here in the action sequences and it's mercifully free of lens flare, but there's nothing truly innovative. It features the same shaky cam and needlessly fast editing that we'll be seeing in at least a dozen other movies this year. It seems a quirk of all three new Star Trek movies. They're determined that the Enterprise be matched against an enemy that vastly overpowers them. Which means that serious questions should be getting asked about Kirk's ability as a captain. Every time he takes the ship out, it gets 7 colours of brown stuff knocked out of it. There's a fight scene done in quirky gravity, but it's cluttered and confusing compared to a similar set piece Christopher Nolan played with in Inception. There's a section where Kirk is skidding about all over the place on a motorbike in a Star Trek film, which I thought was surely the stupidest thing we will see at the cinema this year, until a little while later it's revealed how they defeat the villain's ships. I don't want to spoil it for you, but this must be the most idiotic, juvenile and tactless filmmaking decision Justin Lin has ever made, and he's directed 4 Fast and the Furious movies. The acting in general is good, the cast have really started to gel with each other. I also think that Chris Pine has come on a long way since the first film. I remember thinking he was a vapid pretty boy, more like the captain of a high school football team than the captain of a starship. But he does very well in this. He gives a much more measured, self-assured performance. I just wish he had a script he could really get his teeth into. On a side note, if you're a fan of Star Trek, I would strongly advise you to find a copy of Into the Woods, the Stephen Sondheim musical directed by Rob Marshall. Watch it and watch Chris Pine's performance as Prince Charming. I swear he channels William Shatner much more than he does in Star Trek. Now the final sum up. This is a mediocre action movie, and if you want to see spaceships exploding, then go and see it. It's just a shame that with a different director and a tighter script, not only could it have been a better action movie, it could have been about something. Overall, meh.